All right, we're looking at Google Forms, and we've gone through a few other videos where we talked about how to create the form, how to name the form, how to enter questions. We talked more in detail about the questions and something called response validation. And so forth. So, right, and we also, and I guess in the last video, we talked about how to send out your form to recipients to complete your survey. So what I want to talk about now is how do you look at the responses and how do you analyze responses? So notice we're in this questions tab right now, but we have two others, responses and settings. We'll come back to settings later, but let's look at responses. If I click on responses, notice I don't have any responses. There's 0 responses, and we are accepting responses. So if you create a form but you don't want to make it live, or you don't want to let anybody be able to take it yet, or maybe after you've got all responses back in, you want to turn off that survey so that they can't take it anymore. You could change that here from accepting to not accepting. Okay, so we don't have any responses, so how do we get responses? We could send out as I mentioned in the last video, we could send this out to people and they could take it. Now, in order for you to test it, though, you might want to complete it yourself. And I mentioned you could come up here to the preview area and you could complete it yourself. So let's just preview this and let's complete it. What's my favorite season? I think I like fall. What do you like about the fall? I like Thanksgiving. How about? Anyway, I'm just putting in some stuff here. What is my age? I'll say that I'm 50, and then I'll say, how would I rate the seasons? I hate it. I love them all. I do, except really for summer. Okay, so I'm down here at the bottom. Oh, I got to put my birth date in. I'll just say it's 01/01, 1992. Okay, so I'm going to submit this. And it says your response has been recorded. This, the way I've got it set up now, and we'll look at settings on this a little bit, I could submit another response. Okay, so, but let's go back to the form. This is me completing the form, me previewing the form, but let's go back to the form itself. We click on this, we can see now there's one response. And look, you also can see the results here. You get a graph, right? Which seasons we like and so forth. We see that we've got one response who's 50, and we've got one birth date here, January the 1st, 1992. So let me fill in another one real quick, and let me do that real quick. I'll just preview again, and I'll say my favorite season. Now, just to change it up, I'll say winter. I don't know why we're talking about the fall. I'll just say nothing. Remember, we were talking about earlier that we might add some other questions about what do we like about the spring, what do we like summer, and so forth. What's my age? Let's just say I'm 30, and let's just say I love this one, hate this one, love this one, love this one. And then I can put my birth date in. Let's just say it's 12/12, 2000. And I remember I can choose to choose that with a calendar if I want to. I'm going to click submit. Again, it says your response has been recorded. Let's go back to our survey, and now we can see that we have 2 responses. And look, it looks like the winter has 1 vote, so to speak, and fall has 1 vote. And this pie chart would change, of course, as more and more people filled in your survey. What do you like about the fall? So far, we've got somebody said Thanksgiving and somebody said nothing. And then we've got 2 people and their ages are 50 and 30. How do you rate the seasons? So we can see that hate it, summer has this, and then we've got some column charts here for the other seasons. And then we've got 2 birth dates now. Okay, so those are our responses that we've received so far. And if you like that, that's good. If that's all you need is a quick little survey and you want to get a bar chart or a pie chart out of it, of your responses, that's cool. But one great thing, I think maybe the best thing I like about Google Forms is that when they created this, they allow you to send out a form to people and people respond, and you can take those responses and you can put them in a spreadsheet. I know, spreadsheets, we love spreadsheets, but spreadsheets are great tools for doing analysis, data analysis, analyzing the data. So we want to do that. Let's look up here. We've got a couple of things we can do. I didn't want to do that. I want to click right here though. You see it says create spreadsheet. Okay, so follow me on this. We're going to create a spreadsheet to contain these responses, okay? So I'm going to click on Create Spreadsheet, and I can use an existing spreadsheet, but I'm going to create a new spreadsheet, okay? And then notice what it's going to be called. It's going to be called Seasons SP22 Responses, because when I created this form earlier, I named it Seasons SP22. So by default, unless I change it here, I can change it if I want to, but by default, it's going to be the responses that you've received from the SP22, Seasons SP22 survey that you sent out. Okay, so that's good to just leave it at the default, I think, and we're going to click Create. And so, boom, it creates a spreadsheet. Yay! And it opens that spreadsheet. And so here are the responses. There's a row at the top that are the titles, or the titles of the column, or the questions. And then we have each response down below. We have the timestamp when they filled in this question. And we also have their answers. So one thing I found that's really helpful is you can, if you click on this row right here, you can come up here to the top and you can wrap the titles, or I'm sorry, wrap the data in the text. I'm sorry, in the cell. So by default, it doesn't wrap, but if you change this, you can make it wrap, and then you can read that a little better. Okay, so I can scroll across and you can see all the information there. Cool. All right. So that's where that's our responses in a spreadsheet. And notice the name is already SP22. So let me go back over to the folder where I was creating my response. Here's my my survey, my form. Here's my form right here, and here's the spreadsheet. If I go back over here, let me refresh this. And look now, look, this is the form itself, and here is the spreadsheet. And here's the spreadsheet that has the responses. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. Let me show you just a couple other things here. If I go back to my let's say I close this out. If I want to get back to the spreadsheet, I can come down here and double click on it, okay? But I can also go here and I can click right here, and now that I've already created that spreadsheet, it'll take me directly there. So if you're working in your let me close these out so you can see it again. So if you're working in your form and you want to go and you're working on the questions and you want to see the spreadsheet, you can click here on responses and then click here, and it takes you to your responses. All right, so so how do we do analysis of the data? Well, great thing about a spreadsheet, right? We can do this right here in Google Sheets. And so I want to show you something here. Let's say I wanted to get the average of the age. Well, I could just come in here with my average function, and I could highlight these items, right? That's that range, and I could press enter. Okay, and so there's my average age. So over here on the side or somewhere near it, I could just say average, and that shows my average age. Okay. All right, so that's pretty handy. And later on, we're going to look at other statistical things that we can use, like something called sum if or count if, and so forth. But we're not going to do that right now. But that's a simple way of getting the average in. But I want to show you something. This is an important point. A lot of people mess up on this. If right now the average, notice it's the average of these two cells. It didn't include this one. Now, where will new responses come in? Let's take a look at that. New responses will come in after row 3. Watch, I'm going to fill this form in again. I'm going to click back on my form. I'm going to complete the form again. And I'm going to say, summer is my favorite. I'm going to leave that blank. My age, I want to make that, let's just make this 20, okay? And how would you rate the seasons? Let's do a little bit of this. And let's put our birth date in. Let's see, if we're 20, we were born in what? I don't know. I'll just say 10/10, 2002. Okay. No, not 02. Let's do 200. 200. two. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. Okay. So now oh, that's required. I got to say, remember that was a required question. So I've got to say, cool weather. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to submit this, and this is my third response, right? This is my third response. So let me go back to my spreadsheet. Look, here's my spreadsheet right here. And boom, did you see that? Here's the third response. It came in. And so that's pretty cool that it automatically comes in and it moves everything down. So if you put something down below it, you don't have to worry about it. Google Sheets will move it down. Well, this is great, but look what happened to the age here. The age is still 40, and yet we have a third respondent here. Look what happened. If I double click on this, you'll see that the range didn't change because when I originally did this, I said I want the average of D2 through D3. And so the new response came in and became D4, and so it didn't collect D4, not in the, it didn't capture it in the average. So what I really need to do is when I'm doing an average like this, I want to include all the way down past this. So in this case, I want to go to D5. Okay, so if I go to D5, you see I'm getting the blank cell below that, the blank row, because the new row will come in between 4 and 5, and so the range will automatically change. So the important thing here is to always include past the last response that you have when you create formulas that sum or average or so forth, the responses. All right, I could fill that in again, but I think you'll see that it will work. Right now, you see it's 33.3. Whoop, and did that accidentally. So, but if I added a new one, it would automatically change that range, and you could do that yourself and see that that works. All right, that is a little bit about how we analyze the data or the responses that we get.